In addition to creating meshes, you can now modify imported or scanned mesh bodies using the following new functions found on the Mesh tab. Use the new Refine function to improve your mesh model for 3D printing by adding more data points to detailed areas and reducing them in less detailed areas. The Refine function panel lets you control the size of the facets and their edges to get a result that fits your needs. Often, imported or scanned mesh bodies have more information than necessary for use in Mastercam. This results in extreme file sizes and slower processing. The decimation function reduces the number of facets in a mesh model while giving you control over how closely the modified mesh matches the original. This reduces the file size of the mesh entity. The Trim to Plane or Trim to Surface Sheet functions remove unwanted areas in a model or split a mesh body. Choose a line, flat entity, plane, or surface to trim your selected mesh bodies. Unlike the solid functions, you can create a cap on each side of the split mesh or on the trimmed mesh entity that is left behind. Often, you may create toolpaths on parts that use scanned or imported mesh data. The quality of the mesh data varies and may need improvement before working in Mastercam. Mesh entities can have holes in areas missed by the scanner or probe, or have ragged edges. Use the Fill Holes and Smooth Free Edges functions to improve the mesh data quality. Use Smooth Free Edges to prepare a hole before using the Fill Holes function, or an edge before sending the part to a 3D printer. It generates facets to fill in any sharp edges that lie within a tolerance that you set. These facets smooth the edges of your mesh and improve your part for future applications. Fill Holes seals gaps and prevents tools on future toolpaths from plunging into holes in the entity. There are options to control the shape and construction of the mesh that is added to the selected entity. Both Fill Holes and Smooth Free Edges include automatic preview, as well as the ability to change the color of your results and/or place them on a selected level. The Modify Mesh Facets function allows you to create or remove individual mesh facets. This new function is particularly useful in helping correct errors found by the Check Mesh function. Use Facet Selection to choose the area of the mesh to work on. After you select the area, you can apply one of 4 modification methods. The Smooth Area function prepares your mesh model for machining or 3D printing by smoothing out an entire mesh entity or a specific portion of the entity. Smooth Area can apply up to 10 iterations of the following smoothing methods. Preserve Curvature smooths with minimal changes to the curvature. This method can take the longest to process. Minimize Curvature smooths by flattening the neighboring facets. Minimize Area smooths by reducing the overall area of the mesh. This method is the most drastic and can reduce the volume of the mesh significantly. Average smooths by applying the neighbor's average vertex position to each vertex. This method is the quickest to process. Smooth Area does not change the number of facets in a mesh, but modifies the positions of the facet vertices to reduce irregularities between facet vertices. When working with complex mesh models, it may be difficult to work on a specific part or area. The Explode Mesh function attempts to separate multi-part mesh models into separate mesh bodies. The number of resulting bodies is determined by the parameters set in the function panel. For more information on enhancements to Mastercam, be sure to visit whatsnew.mastercam.com.